KnuckleMania 5 proved that BKFC is the #2 combat sports promotion behind the UFC.
Oh man, that is a good one. I have been a guy who at first did not like BKFC. It was too brutal for me.
I was
Little
there
by
with you.
little, yeah, little by little though, they've been winning me over, and now they're getting to the point because you have to remember they're fighters. They don't have really longevity. This isn't something that you could do over 20 fights or something like that. You would be an absolute mess. But they have their niche, and they're figuring it out. I'm gonna say that is not an overreaction because you
Thank you,
know
sir.
what? Oh man, you actually blew my mind with that because really, especially when you think about what's going on in the PFL right now, what's going on with Bellator making their exit. Um, is BKFC not the only one that tells you we know what we're doing? This is our plan, and little by little, we're kind of buying into it. At least the ship has direction, and I don't know that we could say that about a lot of other ships. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't catch up, but right now, with what BKFC is doing, with the little things that they add here and there, you know what, you're right. They could very well be. And I feel like they gain a lot of fans with the KnuckleMania brand. When they have that show, that particular show,
Mhm.
and it's one after another, they're pacing and the superstars that they bring out, I think they gain a lot of traction. It reminds me of the early UFC days, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, you could tell me about investment and money and backing and all that. That's not where I'm coming from with this claim that they are the #2. I'm just going off of energy and vibes and what we've seen over the last several years and what we've seen with BKFC as opposed to PFL, which had an event on Saturday night, which was a good event. Like Saturday's event earlier in the day in Dubai, it definitely felt bigger. It felt different. But from a fight perspective, it was a top-heavy card with the main event that we were intrigued by between Nurmagomedov and Paul Hughes, but ends with some controversy, right? There was some scoring controversy there. Co-main event, and we were kind of interested in that one. Okay, but with BKFC, dude, here's the thing. BKFC, like you said, we were kind of in the same spot several years back. I was like, I don't know if I'm down with this, like bare knuckle fighting and stuff. But think
Mhm.
about all the things that they've done over the years that have been really shrewd moves. If you think about bringing Paulie Malignaggi at a time
Yeah.
when like that really sparked interest because it was right on the heels of Mayweather McGregor. Mayweather and McGregor and Paulie had a beef, so they put him against Artem Lobov, right? Like Conor McGregor's dude, defending Conor's honor in there, right? Like that was the thing that we were interested in. I thought the Paige Van Zandt experiment was a really good experiment for BKFC because why? They signed her. It was her first thing coming off of the UFC and MMA, and it was like crazy to think that she was going to do bare knuckle, this pretty darling of MMA, right? Paige Van Zandt.
Exactly.
And that intrigued us. Like that was captivating. Like her feud with Britain Hart was captivating. She fought Rachel Ostovich, right? Like those were fights we were
Mhm.
into. And then of course the biggest one I think you would say probably is this revival of Mike Perry.
Yeah.
Smart to sign him. He's reinvented himself. So they have fighters that they've been able to sort of reinvent. And then, of course, all this drew Conor McGregor in as a promoter, as an investor. Like, dude, how can you knock BKFC and where they're at right now?
Yeah, they're very smart, especially with their selection of their fighters. And like you said, Jeremy Stevens, right, reinvented his career. It seems like you look at Mike Perry, same thing. Ben Rothwell. These are guys that I'm not going to say we didn't have any interest in MMA, but we felt like they probably weren't going anywhere. Now they're the star of the show over here at BKFC. They identified these people and they were able to grab them and make something of them. You know what? You know what? Let's do this here. Bellator has gone away, right? So now BKFC.
Knuckles, a bare hand, dude. I
That's
love
you.
it. That's you, BKFC, right there. I mean, listen, dude. You brought up the PFL, and I think we should address PFL because obviously it's Don Davis is constantly out there that they're #2 behind the UFC, this, that, and the other. But we know, like at the current moment,
Mhm.
uh, PFL is in a state of transition, a state of influx. Instead of figuring out what to do, like right now, I wish I was saying PFL was the clear #2, coming off of a year where the Bellator acquisition like proved to be a great thing, right? But
Right.
they're going to lose some fighters. They've lost some big fighters because of the contract situations. They haven't even known of whether or not they want to keep the Bellator branding or not. Why isn't Usman Nurmagomedov just the PFL champion now, right? I mean, Bellator's gone. But why is he not just so there's still some state of influx? And if you compare the moves that they made, for one reason or another, they just didn't work out for the PFL. And what I mean by that is like going the former UFC veteran route, like a Rory McDonald, an Anthony Pettis, a Fabricio Verdum, Thiago Santos. These big signings, they didn't work out. And so we're just in a point now where BKFC, it's just they've been smart, they've been shrewd, and I'm excited to see where they're going the rest of this year.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of scared me in the beginning was I thought bringing Conor McGregor on would be a very big move, but at the same time, you think a guy who built an organization from the ground up, right? Like David Feldman. If you bring somebody in with a big personality like that, man, it just would seem like a recipe for disaster. But somehow they've found a way to kind of coexist. It's actually kind of fun. Conor McGregor makes things a little fun, and seeing his face there over and over, I think it gives a lot to your organization. So yeah, I mean, I think the sky's the limit. And look, the pool that they pull from, there's constantly fighters that are looking for somewhere to go past UFC. And I think they've kind of found a new home here.
MMA Junkie AI.